Benjamin Sesko. Dharmesh, what do we know?
Yeah, I mean, this one looks like it's developing now. There is an expectation at some point in this transfer window he may make that move to the Premier League. Manchester United are expected to make a formal offer to RB Leipzig for their striker Benjamin Sesko. They've been in talks with Leipzig over what they would be prepared to pay in regards to a transfer fee and, of course, that all-important structure as well. We do know that Newcastle United are in ongoing talks over the structure of a deal because they made their first move of the two clubs who are interested in Sesko by putting a formal bid on the table. It was worth in total around 80 million euros, 75 million euros initial payment, 5 million euros in performance-related add-ons, which in sterling is just shy of 70 million pounds. As far as Sesko is concerned, we're told that he is open to both projects, but maybe significantly, one source, and it should be reiterated, it is just one source, has told us that he is leaning towards Manchester United. That's if a deal can be agreed, because all of this can be a moot point if RB Leipzig don't agree a deal with either of these clubs and he ends up staying at RB Leipzig, or it's only one club that RB Leipzig agree a deal with, and then Sesko then will have to make a decision within that framework as well. So United's pursuit of Benjamin Sesko, it is clear they definitely do want the player. I just get the impression that if he was to come, would there be question marks over United's current number 9 in Rasmus Højlund?
Well, there are question marks already, aren't there?
There have been over the course of this entire summer, but it's been fascinating to see the way Højlund has responded to these transfer rumours. He said when he was on international duty that he wants to stay and fight for his place, and he reiterated that last week. United beating Bournemouth 4-1. He scored in that game. He said he scored twice, but it only went down as one goal. But he said that he wants to fight for his place, despite the fact it has been a difficult 2 years for him. Let's bear in mind, he's just 22 years of age. Ruben Amorim said he's really happy with Rasmus Højlund, but we understand that Manchester United are willing to listen to suitable offers for the striker in this window, because we know that Manchester United do have to make sales if they're to sign a striker. They don't necessarily have to make the sales now to sign a player like Benjamin Sesko, but they will have to at some point this summer to comply with PSR. So those sales must be made before the end of the transfer window. And if United sign Benjamin Sesko, you can understand why there will be issues for Rasmus Højlund, because United aren't in Europe next season. There's going to be far less game time for Manchester United to field players. And there is potentially some similarities if United do look to sign Sesko in this transfer window compared to what they did 2 years ago with Rasmus Højlund. You'd argue that Benjamin Sesko is maybe slightly further ahead in his development, having played it in the Champions League. He scored 13 goals last season. And this graphic here compares the two players in the season before they joined Manchester United. If this is the case with Benjamin Sesko, you can see United spent £72 million on a very young player who scored just 9 goals in Serie A for Atlanta the season before he joined Manchester United. Sadly for Rasmus Højlund, last season he scored 4 Premier League goals in 32 appearances. He's been dealt a very tough hand. Circumstances haven't been kind for him.
So are you saying they have to be careful because they might be making the same mistake?
The argument is, and United in this transfer window have signed 2 proven Premier League players. Brian Mbeumo scored 20 goals in the Premier League last season. Matheus Cunha scored 15. There was a player there, and there is a player there available for the right price. I know Aston Villa don't want to sell him, but Ollie Watkins is ready-made to come in. But he turns 30 at the end of this year. There is no resale value. If Aston Villa want somewhere between 45 and 60 million pounds, for United, they wouldn't get any money back for Ollie Watkins, but perhaps he could fit in straight away, kickstart what Ruben Amorim is trying to do, give him 2 or 3 years of good service. Whereas with Benjamin Sesko, the potential is clear for everybody to see. Arguably, he's one of the most exciting strikers in Europe. There is a very high ceiling. Perhaps Benjamin Sesko can get to a higher level than Ollie Watkins. But heading into this Premier League season, there's an argument you want someone who's going to hit the ground running. I'm not saying United are potentially making the same mistakes they did 2 years ago, because I think Rasmus Højlund is going to have a brilliant career. There are really, really encouraging signs. But perhaps it was wrong to sign him 2 years ago as the frontline number 9. Anthony Martial was there as well, but he had a number of injury issues for his time at Manchester United. Rasmus Højlund was already going to have to carry a huge burden. He's done what he can, but it's not worked out in the Premier League so far for him.
Is Sesko a gamble for Manchester United?
One thing I would say about Rasmus Højlund, I know there's been so much criticism and scrutiny aimed in his direction, but if you look at when he actually joined, I don't think, as James alluded to there, that United's aim was, right, here you go, you're going to carry the burden of Manchester United's goal-scoring responsibility. But added to that, when he arrived, he was slightly injured. He actually didn't make his debut until early September, so he didn't have a pre-season at all in a new club, in a new country, in a new league, at all. The following summer, right, can we see the best out of Rasmus Højlund? Because he showed signs in his first season. And he started this second pre-season fantastically well until he got a really bad hamstring injury playing against Arsenal, I think it was, in that pre-season. And he didn't actually start for United or make an appearance for United until mid to late September of last season. So again, he's missed the pre-season. Now, there's a touch of irony now that there's been a lot of talk about whether Rasmus Højlund has got a future at Manchester United in a pre-season where he has played a full part and he has impressed. James says he's showing encouraging signs. He says he wants to fight for his place. Ruben Amorim has been praising Rasmus Højlund for his performances and how he's starting to adapt to his system and adapt to the team. And it comes at a time when Manchester United are potentially considering offers for him. So it's a difficult one for the club, but it's a difficult one for Højlund as well.
Yeah, all that said, are Manchester United looking at possibly starting the season with a completely revamped front line?
Well, it could be the case. You've got Brian and Bumo on the right-hand side, Matthias Cunha on the left-hand side, and potentially, there's still a long way to go with this. You've got Benjamin Sesko as the striker, and Bumo, 20 Premier League goals last season, Cunha, 15 last season. United in total, across their 38 matches in the Premier League last season, scored 44 goals. Already, you're going to get 35 goals from those players if they perform at the level which we know they can. And that has been the main issue for Manchester United over the course of the last 10 years. They've signed players who look like they're going to be absolutely perfect to take Manchester United back to the very top. But the weight of the shirt, changing managers, the hierarchy, internal issues have meant that we've not seen the very best of those players. But United hope by signing Premier League proven players in the form of Mbeumo and Cunha, they can get back to that level. Sesko is largely unproven, but there's a reason why Arsenal looked at signing him in the summer. There's a reason why Newcastle want to sign him now, and why United feel like now is probably the time to sign a new striker. I do really feel for Rasmus Højlund, if this is the case, that against his wishes, he surplus the requirements at Manchester United, because I really think there is a top player there. He's been dealt a really tough hand coming in at such a young age, having to be United's number 9. But you'd argue, at this moment in time, Sesko probably would be an upgrade on Rasmus Højlund, as encouraging as he's looked in pre-season. And United want to get a player in as soon as they can for the start of this season.
Dharmesh, I'm going to ask my question again. Are United taking a gamble on Sesko?
Take a gamble on every transfer. And every transfer, it's got an element of risk to it. Until they actually turn up and play, you could have someone who is tried and trusted in the Premier League and it won't work. You could have someone who hasn't played in the Premier League and suddenly he hits the ground running. It's all going to depend on how they integrate into the squad and how they're going to perform and how they're going to fit into a particular formation that Ruben Amorim is not going to change. So he's going to be selecting players with his recruitment team that fit the system he wants to play. There looks like there's more rhyme and reason behind United's recruitment in this transfer window than there has been in the past. So on that front, it looks a little bit more encouraging that the signings that they're making are more likely to work than what are perceived to have been risks in the past.